Welcome to the Ben Daniel Podcast, where we're calling a spade a spade. Great to be here with you guys today. Joel Embiid made his long-awaited return to the basketball court after sitting out the first 3 weeks of the season due to knee soreness. Joel Embiid comes back last night against the New York Knicks, Game 1 of the in-season tournament, and he looked completely out of sorts. He looked discombobulated. He was still flopping. Joel Embiid didn't lose that ability, the ability to flop at an all-time level. We'll get into that momentarily. But Joel Embiid, after playing last night, won't be playing tonight. The back-to-back, Joel Embiid refusing to play, Joel Embiid not being allowed to play in these back-to-back games. It officially starts tonight. After missing the first 3 weeks of the season, Joel Embiid is already load managing. This is somebody who signed an epic contract over the summer. This is somebody who the Philadelphia 76ers has been building their franchise around for the past 10 years, if you can believe it. Yes, Joel Embiid has already been in the league for 10 years. And he has failed to even come close to reaching the mountaintop. Failed to even come close to reaching the mountaintops. This is somebody who gets injured every single season. And it's not just a nick. It's not just a knack. These are some actual injuries he's been going through, whether it's a leg, whether it's an ankle, whether it's a broken face. Joel Embiid just can't seem to stay healthy. And here we are, sitting out the second game of a back-to-back, and Charles Barkley's over it, Shaquille O'Neal's over it, Chris Mad Dog Russo's over it. Joel Embiid has been getting crushed yesterday for his performance and getting crushed this morning for his attitude on not wanting to play back-to-back games. Before we get into that, let me just show you guys this. This is Joel Embiid being a generational flopper over there in the NBA. Joel Embiid runs into a player that's a good foot shorter than him. That's a good 100 pounds less than him. And Joel Embiid acts like he runs into a brick wall. Joel Embiid acts like he's playing 2K and runs into a Hall of Fame brick wall screen. Joel Embiid, you're back, and I'm already tired of the flopping. You were in for 5 minutes. You put your hands on your knees. You got too tired. Joel Embiid last night looked like somebody who forgot how fast the NBA was. Joel Embiid last night looked like somebody who forgot how talented some of the players in the NBA were. Getting outplayed by Karl Anthony Towns. Getting outplayed by the New York Knicks, being a net negative, not a net positive. This is somebody who really didn't have any reported injury at all. He plays the Olympics, comes back, season's on the precipice of starting, and oh wait, Joel Embiid's too hurt to start the season. What do you mean he's too hurt? What happened to him? Did he fall out of bed one evening? Did he fall down the stairs one afternoon? Well, why isn't Joel Embiid starting off the season? And then when he gets close to making his debut, he had every right to do this. A reporter gets into his face after speaking about his children, after speaking about his brother. Reporter got what was coming to him. And Joel Embiid subsequently got suspended after that. This is Shaquille O'Neal talking about Joel Embiid's mentality, talking about how if he doesn't change his mentality, this team's never going to win a championship. This team's never going to reach the mountaintop. They go out, they get Paul George, another bum who can't stay healthy. He's not a bum, but you guys understand the gist. Another broken down player who's stitched together with the staples, paper clips, masking tape. Let's take a listen to hear what Shaquille O'Neal had to say.
In New York, it's a tough city to play, but this was the fear I had for Joel Embiid. You announced arrogantly, I'm not playing back-to-back, Johnny. I'm not injured, but I'm sore. I come in when I want to come back. Now, when you say things like that, you're supposed to come back with extra energy.
Woo.
0 for 3, I'd have been 0 for 15. But you know what y'all have said? Hey, Shaq's not playing well, but he's playing aggressive. So the plan that they're having,
Not working.
It's not working. And not only that, I say this respectfully. Joel Embiid will never win a championship until he gets his mind and his attitude right. In New York, it's a tough city to play.
Joel Embiid will never win a championship unless he gets his mind and his attitude right. This was during halftime. Shaquille O'Neal wasn't happy with what he saw. Joel Embiid came out at the second half and attempted 8 shots, but finished with 13 points. Didn't really do much. Didn't really do much at all, but that was Shaquille O'Neal at halftime. This is Shaquille O'Neal at the end of the game talking about the Joel Embiid situation.
I made the comment that he's not going to win a championship until his attitude changes, and I meant what I said. Being the reigning president of the Big Man Alliance, I know what it takes to win the championship, and as a leader, you have to lead by example. When you come in and say, I'm not going to play back-to-back, to give the guys that are not really focused, it gives them time to say, well, if he's not going to play hard, I'm not going to play hard. When you come out and dominate and play, all the other guys, they can feed off you and play well. If he, like, Kenny made a great point. We shown all these points. They had no points in the paints. And like me and Chuck been telling them how to make the game easy for ourselves. If you dominate, you're going to free up Maxey. You're going to free up all the other young fellas.
But you know why he does that, Shaq? You know why he shoot those threes?
Why?
So that he don't have to run that much further.
1 for 5 from the three-point line, by the way. Joel Embiid on the night shot 2 for 11 from the field, 1 for 5 from the three-point line, 8 for 8 from a free throw stripe. Some of them were real fouls, some of them were him flopping. Joel Embiid finished with 13 points, 3 rebounds, 5 assists. One of his worst games as a professional, hands down.
That's why he shoot those threes, because
And that's why I stand on what I said.
because I may sound simple, but to run from under the basket on the post,
From baseline to baseline.
baseline to baseline,
Three-point line, three-point line.
like he's like, no, I don't want to do that. I'm gonna shoot the three and then I can get back. That's just my personal opinion.
My question to him would be, how do you want to be remembered? You want to be remembered?
But, I mean, the guy, he averaged 30-something points last year. I now...
That was last year, Kenny. This year is this year. How do you want to be remembered, Joel Embiid? You will be remembered so far as a talented player that never accomplished anything in the league. The MVP you received should be on Jokic's mantelpiece. Let's be honest here. The MVP that Joel Embiid received was a sympathy MVP because he hooted and he hollered and he bitched and he moaned and he complained and he screamed and he yelled from the rafters, "What about me? Aren't you seeing my empty stats? What about all of my numbers?" And then after years and years of doing the same song and dance, the NBA voters said, finally, Joel, here you go. Just take your MVP and leave us alone. And then last year we were back to regularly scheduled programming. Nikola Jokic, clearly, these two, Jokic and Embiid, will never be, and should, from this point forward, never be in the same sentence ever again. One player is consistently reliable. The other player, you have no idea when they're playing. One player stays healthy through the playoffs. The other player usually is hurt through the playoffs. One player has a ring on their finger. The other player is Joel Embiid. Jokic and Embiid should never be in the same sentence again. That was last night. This morning, Chris Mad Dog Russo, he really had a mouthful for Joel Embiid. Let's take a quick listen, hear what he had to say, and then we'll get back.
Boy, you are giving him a complete pass. Number one, if he wanted to play tonight, he'd get out there and play tonight. That's the first thing. I don't buy this team nonsense.
Yeah, Joel Embiid says he wants to play tonight. Quote, "I want to. That's up to those guys talking about the medical staff. I know I said I would never play back-to-backs, but I'm a troll. So I'm sure at some point I'll play." That's what Joel Embiid said about a month ago. Maybe a month and a half ago. But now it's a different story. Now it's, oh, I'm a troll. Oh, I'm joking. Oh, it's not my decision. Oh, it's the medical staff. No, Chris Mad Dog's right. If you wanted to play, Joel, you'd play. If he wanted to play, you'd play. Jason Tatum, people were saying Jason Tatum was hobbled last night. He wanted to play. He could have sat out, rested his ankle, I believe. Instead, he said, no, I'll play. I got to push through.
Well, they tell him not to play. He's a big star. If he wanted to play the basketball game tonight, he'd play the freaking game. I don't care what some trainer said. That's the first thing. Second thing, you're putting him on this level, Steve, he doesn't deserve to be at. He has never played in a conference final. Woo! Never played in a conference final. You're a big man in the NBA. You are evaluated by how far you play in the postseason. This is a guy who has never played in a conference final. That's number two. Number three, how come he was as fresh as a daisy in the Olympics? I don't understand. So let me get this straight. He was as fresh as a daisy, played minutes up and down the court in the Olympics after he was limping around last year at the end of the postseason against the Knicks. And now a month or two later, he can't play again? I don't understand that. Number four, there's much too much noise with the Sixers. They have the most overrated general manager in the history of professional sport who has done nothing in his career in Morey, and they make him out to be Red Auerbach. That's the first thing. Second thing, the aforementioned the fact that Embiid has never played in a conference final. I'm tired of all the Sixer noise. How about the Sixers go out there and win some ball games? How about they play the schedule? Cleveland's been playing all the games. Brunson and Towns have played all the games. LeBron hasn't taken a day off, and he's 40 years old. How about Embiid, and how about Paul George? How about they all go out there, play basketball games? Their record stinks. What are they, 2-8? Go out there and play some basketball games and put together a 25-game stretch where they all play and they go 18-7. How about they do that before we sit there and make such a big deal about the Philadelphia 76ers, who every time I look up in a big game, whether it be against Boston in the playoffs a few years ago when they got routed, whether it be against Toronto when they couldn't beat them, whether it be against the Knicks, how about we go out there and start evaluating Philadelphia like all great players and teams should be evaluated, how they play in postseason. And so Jokic has won championships. All right, Jokic won a title. So comparing him to Jokic is an insult. He's won a championship. So let Embiid, let him go play in a conference final before I start putting him on the level that you love to put him at, one of the all-time great centers. No, he's not. The body of work does not indicate that, Stephen.
Listen,
so you guys overrate him all the time. I'm tired of it.
Time out.
Damn. Chris Mad Dog Russo not pulling any punches. I told you, Joel Embiid and Jokic should not be in the same conversation. Joel Embiid is holding Jokic's MVP for him. Shining the MVP, that should be on Jokic's trophy. That's what Embiid won. He's fresh as a daisy in the Olympics, but we can't start the NBA season. You sit the first 3 weeks of the season, you can't play in the first back-to-back. You tell the fans you don't want to play back-to-backs, and the first opportunity you get to play a back-to-back, look at that. You're not playing it. Oh, but I am a troll. Joel, I know you're a troll, but proof is in the pudding, my friend. Proof is in the pudding. The Sixers, people projected the Sixers to make a deep playoff run. They are currently one of the easiest W's in the NBA today. This team is 2-8. 2 wins. 8 losses. Paul George, Joel Embiid, pissing away all of the Philadelphia 76ers money. I think Morey's a pretty good GM. I don't think he's bad. What he did in Houston, what he's done so far in Philly. I mean, the roster is not too bad. It's not amazing, but it's not too bad. But man, this team does not look good at all. And if we have players picking and choosing what games they're going to play, players sitting out multiple games per week, players not taking part in back-to-backs, then newsflash, the chemistry will never be there. They will make the playoffs just because the Eastern Conference is such trash. And then they'll get bodied by one of the better teams. Bodied by one of the better teams. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. This is the Ben Daniel Podcast. Joel Embiid, come on, man. Get it together. Appreciate all the support as always. Take it easy.